Week 14 and Thursday Night Football provides an amazing matchup as the Dallas Cowboys travel to Detroit to take on Jared Goff and the Lions. My name's Tyler here with my brother Ryan. We're going to break down this Week 14 matchup that has major playoff implications on the line and provide our predictions at the end. So be sure to stay tuned, leave a comment, and while you're at it, hit that subscribe button, get notified when new videos come out. We have a lofty goal of trying to get to 10,000 subscribers by the end of December. Let's see if we can get there. And Ryan, let's get into it. So, both
Let's do it.
Dallas and Detroit played on Thanksgiving. Detroit, a hard fought loss to Green Bay, 31-24, pushed them to 7-5. While the Cowboys beat the Kansas City Chiefs 31-28, going to 6-5-1 on the season. Ryan, this matchup, the Lions are the 8th ranked team as of right now, and 9th ranked team is Dallas. If the playoffs were held today, both teams are a couple of games back from the San Francisco 49ers. So this is a major playoff game here for both these teams. And honestly, too, I think you can make a serious argument. Both whoever loses this game is probably out because now they're going to have another tiebreak loss to another team that's going to be in front of them. And
Yeah.
so and I will say one team seems to be clicking at the right time, and one team seems to be struggling a little bit, battling with some injuries as well too on their offensive line. That latter team I'm referring to is Detroit. That is what I kind of noticed here when watching them on Thanksgiving. They were never really able to get back in the lead against Green Bay, and also to defensively, they were just more susceptible, I think, to some of the offensive scheming that Matt LaFleur was able to piece together, and that's what I'm thinking about when going into this game here as
Yeah.
well, because there are some dynamic playmakers on Green Bay, but it's really more of the system. I think that really
Dallas.
benefits them. Sorry, well, no,
Oh, no, no.
on Green Bay,
Oh.
yeah.
Yeah.
But when I look at Dallas, not only do they have that, but then they also have some amazing, like top tier dynamic playmakers, CD Lamb and George Pickens. So I want to throw it over to you. What were your overall thoughts of the Thanksgiving games? What do you think each team needs to do to come out victorious here in Week 14?
Yeah. I mean, overall, I thought the Thanksgiving games were very telling of the direction of these two franchises. I feel like the Lions have been kind of sputtering as of late. They were able to eke out some wins over some middling teams. But when they've played like the true top of the line teams in the NFL, they haven't necessarily been able to pull it out. I don't know if it's a coaching thing. They've definitely been dealing with a lot of injuries this year as well. They just haven't been able to overcome it nearly as well as they did last year. And so I think when you look at the brain drain on the coaching staff, and then you also go and look at just the injuries they're having, I think it just doesn't feel like the Lions' year. Whereas the Cowboys, this offense, they really seem to be clicking at the right time. Uh, in this defense, they go out, they add Quinnen Williams, they add Logan Wilson, DeMarvion Overshown comes back from injury. It's like all of a sudden there's a few more playmakers than what we thought on this Dallas defense that once was one of the worst defenses in the league at one point in this season. And so, not saying that they're going to come out and start posting shutouts, especially at this point in the year, but it's not going to be a 38-35 track meet in every single matchup. They're actually able to get at some pressure on the quarterback. Defensively, schematically, I think that they have improved as well in being able to kind of utilize these pieces and overload one side. And, they're in this era of football now on defense, and they're not just, sitting back, being patient and being a porous defense. So all in all, for this matchup, if Detroit can come out and they can kind of put Dallas on their heels and make Dak Prescott have to drop back, and then they can let Aiden Hutchinson and Aleem McNeil in this pass rush get after him. I think that is going to be something that they're going to need to do, especially. And then if you can do that and make Dallas push the ball down the field, that's going to make Dak Prescott hold on to the ball even longer. I think that's what Detroit's going to have to do and just kind of make this game a shootout. Then also they're going to need to, have some Jahmyr Gibbs explosive runs and get the ball in the hands of their playmakers. I don't know if Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to play. He has a low ankle sprain. And so you give him, the week of recovery. We'll see if he's able to go. But if they can have some explosive plays and put up some points quickly, I think that's going to be their best bet. And then Dallas, rely on George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb to win their one-on-one matchups. I think that's going to be the biggest thing here. Dak Prescott, I know everyone's talking about Matthew Stafford, Drake May in that MVP conversation, but Dak Prescott is having maybe not quite the same year, but a very good year in his own right.
Well, especially too, just on that point with Dak, it's like the season that they're having, and they didn't have CD Lamb for 4 or 5 weeks. I think it was just
Yeah.
4 weeks. I think it was just a normal IR period, but still, I think it's something that's worthy to keep thinking about, considering, especially to where Dallas ends up.
Mhm.
But for me, it's talking about the Dallas defense as of right now. I think we saw the addition of Quinn Williams and just his ability to get after it in the interior. I think that's going to be a very interesting matchup here as the Lions are struggling with injuries on the offensive line. Try to bring back Frank Ragnow, but I'm sure everybody, Lions fans, you've been following that news, and he said he was going to come out of retirement, but then they found a grade 3 hamstring strain or tear, I believe,
Something like that. Yeah.
which is pretty severe. And so he's not going to be able to go. So there's no improvements overall to this interior that's very banged up. As Graham Glasnow it has been out as long with a couple of others, and so how's that going to affect the running game? I'm sure that Detroit's still going to have their moments of running successfully against them, but it's still it's just something to just it's not as easy as it was last year. And now you go and lose Monroe St. Brown, really going to lean on Jameson Williams there. And with Sam Laporta now being out as well too, have to rely on just lesser tight end talent. Like it's just the injuries now. Last year
Yeah.
it was defensively all the injuries is where all the injuries were. Now offensively, that's where the Lions are really getting bit. And so I think Cowboys matchup, I think, well with the Detroit Lions. It's they can get after the front. Their front seven's good. That they can get after it. I thought the Green Bay Packers did a good job silencing them in general on Thanksgiving, and the Cowboys' offensive line is just as good, if not better. I think than the Packers' offensive line. So
Yeah.
I expect maybe something similar. But then on top of that too, the Lions secondary I think is good, but they only do so much, and even a really good secondary is not going to be able to fully contain George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb and Jake Ferguson
Yeah.
throughout an entire game. And then you have Kamante Turpin as well too, and then you have Javonte Williams catch the ball out of the backfield. This is where, to me, when I'm looking at this game, I know it's in Detroit, but it's I just think it's going to be too much. I think for the Lions to maintain just with all the injuries they have offensively, because this is going to be a game I think it's going to turn into a shootout. Not having a Monra, not having Sam Laporta, I think the Cowboys are just going to be able to take it away here. And if they're going to get pressure up the interior, which is kind of Jared Goff's kryptonite, it's
Yeah.
typical quarterbacks that are like him. The more traditional pocket passers. I think the Lions once again are going to drop this one here. I think it's going to be close. I'm going to bet we're going to be thinking more about some fourth down calls once again that Dan Campbell's making. It's not that I dislike them. It just I think also law of averages. It just seems like this year they're losing against the house. It just seems like
Yeah.
there's going to be some fourth downs that they're not going to be able to get and execute on. So, but I'm going to go with Dallas here on this one.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Dallas also. I just feel like this team is clicking at the right time. And when you look at what's kind of happening in Detroit, especially if Amon-Ra does not play, or even if he does, but he's a shell of himself, I just think that that's really going to hinder this offense because he is the oil that makes this engine run. And
Yeah.
so for me, I'm going to go with Dallas. I think they're just clicking at the right time. They're the hot team in this matchup, and they'll pull this one out on
Yep.
Thursday night. So with that said, let's go ahead. Let's wrap this one up. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. That is the best way to help out the channel. While you're down there, go ahead and leave a comment on who you think is going to come out ahead in this matchup. Will it be the Dallas Cowboys? Will it be the Detroit Lions? And other than that, we will see you guys next time.